Imagine that I'm talking to the guests, I'm completely gossiping. Good morning, Gary. Welcome to Maritime Radio.
Good morning, Ashley. Thanks for having me on.
How are you feeling? You've come all the way from Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Yeah, very slow journey this morning with the weather we've had.
Well, we do appreciate you coming in.
No problem.
First up, tell me about, you describe yourself as a peak performance coach.
Yeah.
What is a peak performance coach?
A peak performance coach is a relatively sort of new breed of coach, but we're geared around a mix of mindset and life coaching. So anyone who has problems with mental challenges, overcoming certain obstacles in their life, if they have a lot of self-doubt or they're fearful of taking that next step in their business, I help them overcome it, and I help them get past it to the desired outcome and live the life at the level they desire.
This is exciting. So, tell me about your backstory, because you just didn't wake up one morning and be a peak performance coach, did you? There's a whole story to Gary Allman's arriving here today. Give me a little bit about that backstory.
My backstory: I was stuck in a corporate job for a very long time, and I'd watched various people who I'd known as friends before sort of leave me behind within this business. And I was getting very restless and very unsatisfied with the progress I was making. But I did eventually become a manager in my line of work, and I thought earning more money would lead to more fulfillment.
Yeah.
But no, that wasn't
not
the case.
true.
No.
Yeah, but people with money, I find, always say that. The poor people like me, we aspire, we want more money, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, we're working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
But you guys have money, you say you're not happy.
No, I wasn't happy. I was earning a good salary, and a lot of people would have given up their dreams then, but I felt massively unfulfilled, and I wanted more. I wanted to help others and use my managerial skills and mentorship skills to guide people in the right direction, and I had to do that for myself first before I could help others.
So what's it like being a peak performance manager? Because you're still quite young.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you got big businesses and small businesses and entrepreneurs. What's that like? What's it like day to day being Gary?
Yeah, it's interesting because I get a lot of people message me and like yourself asking exactly what I do, and I do have to explain it in detail, but once I hook into their pain and their desire, they start to understand me more and they open up a little bit more, because we all need help. It just takes someone to bring it out and admit it.
What problems do they usually come to you with?
A lot of self-doubt.
Yeah.
That seems to be the number one thing people have, because they're scared what their friends and family think, and they also listen to other people rather than actually focusing on their desired outcome. All their attention has gone on other people, and they want to be seen as this successful person.
Yeah.
But because they're so scared about other people, they don't actually take the action they need to.
So where do you come in? What do you say to them? Do you say to them, stop having self-doubt and point a finger at them? What do you do?
Yeah, I just tell them, a lot of the time I tell them to think how far they've come. If they're in the midst of being an aspiring entrepreneur and being an established entrepreneur, they've obviously got some sort of knowledge of that game and that field of work. So I say to them, well, what did you do to get into this line of work? Well, I did this and this and this. Okay, well, have you acknowledged how far you've actually come? Or are you just constantly looking at the end product? And once they start to reframe their mind and they think a little bit about the progress they've made, they start to become a little bit more comfortable and actually realise that they are on the right track.
Yeah. You focus a lot on self-belief. Can that be taught? Just talk me through a bit of self-belief, because you focused a lot on that, I read.
Yeah, self-belief, I don't think it can be necessarily taught, but people can learn it. But the whole idea of my coaching is to get the client to answer their own questions and learn from their past failures. I don't actually give them the advice, I just ask thought-provoking questions, and I can bring the self-belief to the surface that they need.
Would you give, I'm being really cheeky here because you didn't know I was going to ask this, but can you give me an example of like a thought-provoking question? We're going to go to a song after, but just give me a thought-provoking question. We'll go to a song and that will just provoke our thoughts.
Okay, so I could say to you, if you were fearful of something, I could say to you, in what situation and what environment does your fear arise?
So let's just build a scenario. So let's say I'm fearful of doing a radio show. Let's say, for example, doing a national radio show. So I would say to you, Gary, I'm scared of going national. I'm not going to mention another station, but let's say a big sports station has offered me a show. Okay. And I say, but I'm scared. I'm worried. What would your thought-provoking question be?
Okay. Where does that fear stem from?
and I would say something like a fear of failure, being embarrassed, listeners calling in and abusing me.
Okay. Have you acknowledged how far you've come and the reason why you got that gig in the first place?
Do I answer that as myself, or do I answer that because I would pretend to be humble and be like, well, yes and no, but you don't want to brag and.
Best thing to do is answer it as yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you were to say to me, no, I haven't acknowledged that because I don't want to come across as arrogant, then you can delve a little bit deeper and say, why don't you want to come across that way? Are you fearful of other people thinking outside influences? You know, and you need to always look at the end product and the goal you're geared towards.
Yeah.
Which is obviously moving forward in your career. And when people have everything aligned with that, and all their actions are aligned with that, very little matters in their life apart from that. And anyone who comes in who wants to support them, you know, is just another step for them to take by having those people in their circle, rather than the negative people who were making you feel that way in the first place, because you block them out because you're so focused on the end goal.
Excellent. See, thought-provoking stuff. We're going to pause for some Emily Sunday, and we'll hear more from Gary. We're going to go more into the coaching and life and the people around you and negative mindsets and all that kind of good stuff. So, how was that for you?
All right. Yeah, I feel myself getting hot because I was getting nervous. I was really trying to think.
Fine. Just smile.
Yeah.
And don't worry, I'm not looking at you because my eyes are looking everywhere. Are you right to just like stop it?
Yeah, of course.
I'm just trying to think and
Tiny Temper, my old school friend and my neighbour, funnily enough. Let's go return to Gary J Allman, the Peak Performance Coach. Hello Gary, how are you over there?
Very well, yes.
I want to ask you really quickly, because we're all talking about improvement and motivation and just fixing ourselves. How important are the people in our lives? So some of us, we'll call it our circle, our friends, work colleagues, the negative, the positive, the like-minded.
Massively important. You are a product of your environment, 100%. A lot of people do know that, but most people don't actually practice it. So they're too scared of what other people think, going back to that again. If you want the right things in your life, you need to start seeking them out. And whether that's networking with people, you actually have to be around them 24/7.
Yeah.
But just watch what they do and learn from the language they use and their actions they're taking, and then apply them to your own life.
So how do we get rid of the negative? So we've got people in our lives, we've identified the negative, whether that's a work colleague, a friend. How do we kind of get rid of that person? Because that can really blow up.
It can do. It can be a massively sensitive subject. Sometimes they'll just go away because you'll be so far ahead of them and they wouldn't have followed you down the path you're taking, and eventually they'll just turn off at another junction and they won't say anything to you. They'll drift away from your life. But obviously, it's a more sensitive subject when it's family involved and really close friends. Some friends will support you and some family will support you. But I think when you start on a journey, you need to make them clear on exactly what you're doing, so they don't just see you doing these things because they don't understand it. So you need to try and make them understand exactly the reasons why you're doing it.
Looking at your personal story, did anyone turn against you because you went from this corporate job earning loads of money to what people could say was a huge risk?
It was a massive risk, yeah. I did have a lot of people question the reason why I did it, but those people are either no longer in my life or they've stood by me and supported me. And if you keep taking the action and your vision is aligned with those actions, then they'll part ways or they'll follow you and they'll stand by you and help you along the way.
Lovely. I want to ask you, just before we go for a quick break, what is a peak performance coach? How would you describe that?
Peak performance coaching is allowing people to overcome their mental challenges by asking thought-provoking questions and living life at the level they desire.
Excellent.
There you go.
Lovely. We're speaking to Gary J Allman. We've got some Lady Gaga to play for you next. Her brand new track. Absolutely nothing to do with your interview, but it's a brand new track. And then we'll hear more about you and improving our lives and being entrepreneurs. Do you feel we're all an entrepreneur in our own sort of way?
I think we are, yeah, because we all have our own set of goals and tasks daily. Even if they're only 5-minute tasks, we still have to complete them. We still have to apply them to our lives to continuously move forward and progress in life.
Lovely. We're improving your life here on the Saturday Breakfast Show. Let's have some Lady Gaga and then we're back with more from Gary. The music there from Lady Gaga, it's called Stupid Love. She's actually getting engaged with someone. We spoke about that in the first hour. How the ex-girlfriend of her new partner found out on Facebook and I accidentally called her bitter. Apparently the video to Stupid Love was filmed entirely on an iPhone 11 Pro. How amazing is that? Well done, Lady Gaga. We have Gary J Allman in the studio. He is a peak performance coach. How are you doing, Gary?
I'm great, thank you.
I really do appreciate you coming because you came all the way from Milton Keynes through all those roundabouts into Greenwich and then you landed on the Woolwich Ferry.
Yeah, I did, yeah. And then got stuck behind 30 horses coming up Stupid's Hill as well, so that was exciting this morning.
We get that a lot around here.
Yeah.
It really annoys me.
Yeah.
When I've got to leave for work a bit later, totally off subject, and you've got to rush and get in the car and drive off before the horses, and you've got to turn your music down because you don't want to scare the horse. Really, I bet that's something really monumental and something really important to Greenwich, and I'll get in trouble for saying that. Let's go back to talking about you there. You're a peak performance coach. You explained to us what that was before, Lady Gaga. Would you just say that again?
Yeah, peak performance is allowing people to overcome their mental challenges and their obstacles by asking thought-provoking questions to get them to live life at the level they desire.
Lovely. Just I start drinking. You talk about frustrated entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. Firstly, do you feel we're all entrepreneurs? Define what that is to you.
Yeah, I think deep down we are all entrepreneurs. We all have tasks we need to complete daily, and we do hold ourselves accountable for completing those tasks. I think you can apply those to any aspect of life in order to move forward, and also business as well. And if you're focused enough and you're driven, there's no reason why you can't make a living out of it in any chosen field. You just have to know exactly what that is you want.
I'm going to stay in contact with you after the show and I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
How do you become a frustrated entrepreneur though?
Frustration can be manifested in many different ways, but most people will be in a position where they've only gone so far, and then they've seen others that have reached the same stage as them but surpassed them, and they can't figure out exactly what it is that they've done to get past that problem that they're stuck on. And these people who are frustrated just build it up in their mind more and more and more that they're never going to get to the level that those other people are, and then they procrastinate and they become angry and they become stressed and overwhelmed, and then they never take any further action. On
that word of procrastinate, how do we stop procrastinating? Because on a personal level, I procrastinate like absolutely. It's ridiculous sometimes. To the point I'm late for work. How do we stop that?
Procrastination stems from people not prioritising what's important to them and saying yes to a lot of other things. So if you were to get everything out of your head and mentally unpack and literally write stuff down and make those tasks tangible that you need to complete day in, day out. Because when you store them in your mind, they seem more daunting than they actually are. And when they're visible in front of you, and written down in English for you to see, you can look at that and think, actually, that's only going to take me 5 minutes to complete.
But then talking as a procrastinator, you come to the task and it's like, I can do that tomorrow, I can do that later.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch this YouTube video, I'd rather pick my nose, I'd rather do anything else other than that particular task because there's always later, there's always time later.
Yeah.
How does that? Have you stopped doing that?
You can look at the task and say it's going to take you 5 minutes to complete, and you think, okay, so what outcome am I going to get from completing that task? Is it something that can wait till tomorrow, or is it something that other people are depending on for me to complete, and I need to absolutely do it now, even if it's only going to take 5 minutes? And then once you break it down and you see where it's going to get you and how far it's going to move you forward, you will know to complete it, and the other stuff can wait later on. Rather than it just being a massive list of tasks, because you've broken down the task and then the outcome, you know what the outcome is and the benefit to you, you can get it done a lot easier.
And if we're still failing at this, are you there on the phone, by text, by Skype?
Yeah, I'm there, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, all sorts, and I do my video chats via Skype and via Zoom, so if anyone wants to jump on a call with me, I can discuss this in more detail.
Yeah. How long have you been coaching for?
Not that long actually. I've been coaching officially for about 6 months, but it took me 3 months to actually build my business and then launch it, and that was every single day, every single weekend, non-stop, and then obviously website, ebook, and everything else came from that. But the accreditation I've done and the international qualification I have has taken me 12 weeks to complete.
Wow. So how do you become a coach? Is it an online course? Do you go to college?
Yeah, you can do it all online. In a modern world, it's a lot easier to do now. And you can do monthly payments to complete it, but you are held accountable for it. If you don't do it, you fall massively behind. So it is a lot of hard work to do.
And it's a course, they teach you step by step, and lovely. You mentioned you have an ebook. Tell me a little bit about your ebook.
My ebook is quite short. It's only 1,600 words, but the content in there is quite in depth, and it's my 3 core pillars for my coaching business, which are discipline, desire, and self-belief, and I'll branch out on those, and I add in 3 tips on each one on how to apply them to your own life.
In your ebook, which I've seen, you have many questions, like rhetorical questions that you're going to answer in the book. So I'm going to ask you now, just to be nasty.
Thanks.
You talk about discipline.
Yeah.
Is it something that can be taught, or is it learned behaviour? Is it how can it be taught? Is it something you're just born with? If you haven't got any discipline, then that's it.
It's definitely something that can be taught, but it needs to be taught at an early age, and obviously a lot of it is your environment again, down to your parents teaching you, these certain rules and regulations in life. But also you can learn it in a later life, because you'll get to a point where if you're not disciplined enough, you just won't get anywhere in life. You won't achieve a good career. You look at other people with envious eyes, and you need to realise that to discipline your own life, you really have to make radical changes. And what goes back to what we discussed a minute ago about your environment, and learning from other people and learning how they've done it can be one of the biggest tips to start that process.
So if you was teaching discipline, or coaching someone to be more disciplined, would you just point out where they've gone wrong and what could be different if they were a bit more disciplined?
I would simply ask them why they feel they need to be more disciplined to start with, and why they feel that a lack of discipline is holding them back, and then go about learning their situation and learning how they go about their day-to-day life, and then we can apply discipline to a certain, because discipline is a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
You can be disciplined simply as, people don't drink enough water to focus mentally, so making sure you get 2-3 litres of water a day, simple things like that, and daily tasks they can do to start to learn and ingrain a habit, because everyone's on a different level, everyone has their own problems and their own goals.
Lovely. You also mentioned in the ebook how you can discover, or uncover, if I read it correctly, uncover your true desires. What's that? That sounds so exciting.
A true desire is confused with motivation, because people think, I need to be motivated to get after my goals, but the goal they're chasing isn't their true desire. So when that motivation wanes, their desire isn't strong enough to keep their focus and keep their attention. So if you want to uncover it, you need to start asking yourself more questions. And in order to do that, you need to think instantly, okay, what do I want right now? What do I need right now? So say it's money.
Yeah. Then
ask yourself, why do I need money? What will money enable me to do? And then you answer those questions, and every single time you come up with an answer, you ask yourself why. Again, you probably do it 5 or 6 times. And when you get to the end product, or the end result, that is your true desire, because that is where all of these prior things have led you to. So when you put that at the top of your list and put that on a pedestal, then you set all your goals towards that outcome, then your motivation won't be a problem.
So do you find people's true desires, what they believe to be their true desires, often start with money?
Absolutely, yeah, especially in this day and age, because everyone, a lot of people see their friends, out at the weekends on social media, and they're, oh, I can't do that, I want to do that, I need money. And I fell into the trap of doing this myself prior to leaving my corporate job. I tried to start up side businesses because I wanted money when I wasn't in the managerial position I was in. Instead of focusing on actually what I did want, which was to escape that corporate world and live a life of freedom and help other people, I was focused on money, and my motivation just dropped. And I tried this 3 times before I actually learned my lesson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was thinking relentlessly, money is the problem, money is the problem, money is the problem. But I wasn't asking myself, actually, Gary, why do you want money? What will money enable you to do? And I thought, if I actually get the manager's job, money won't be a problem. And then that question was answered. Then I thought, I don't need money anymore. What else do I want? But it took me 3 attempts to actually find that.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was. I've got to play a Madonna track next, and I don't want to play it because it's going to take away from that moment. Just wow. So there's something to take away from that section. Do not make money your motivation. Motivation has to be the end goal, or the motivation to get to that goal.
Absolutely.
Keep failing.
Yeah. Motivation is a stimulus for acting in a particular way, whereas a desire is, think of the desire as the end product, and it's truly what you're after, and then you won't rely on motivation so much.
Wow, Gary. Wow. We're going to hear more from you after a little Madonna. Wow. Well, that was really good.
Thanks.
Noel Rogers. Noel Rogers is the guy with the hat, isn't it, and the dreads?
Yeah.
I do secretly believe he's totally bald underneath that hat. And he's just got dreads on the side. Very quickly, coming up at 10 o'clock today, we have Orchid Bee. She has Gavin Andrews in. He's director of Heart of Maths, the UK and Ireland. And he explains how regulating breathing can generate positive emotions. That's one to listen to. And at midday today, she's got 2 high-achieving Plumstead Manor students coming in to celebrate their education success. That's definitely worth listening to. It's Orchid Bee at 10 today on her Arts and Wellbeing show. In the meantime, no, I'm still joined by Gary Allman. Hello, Gary.
Hello.
Terrible, I had to pause over your name there. Let's return. So I want to talk about rejection. So you're the peak performance coach, you're coaching entrepreneurs, you're getting them back to a state of success, I think we could safely say.
Yeah.
What happens when there's rejection? We were discussing this off air. In the media world, there is, I'll use myself as an example because it's just me and you here. There's a lot of rejection. You send out emails, you send messages, you reach out on LinkedIn, you either get ignored or you either get just a rejection letter. Some of them can be quite nasty. I've had one which was a little sarcastic. It can be quite unpleasant. How do you deal with that, to keep pushing and to keep sending those letters and to keep reaching out?
One of the things you can do is actually think about the person on the end of that email that has rejected you. You know, do you know that person directly or indirectly? And is that the reason they rejected whatever you said to them or you as a person? Is that a reflection of them rather than you? Now, if it's a reflection of them and they're under a lot of pressure, maybe they've had a really bad day, and you're in a really positive mindset, that rejection doesn't matter to you because that's no reflection of you and the action you've taken because you're trying to move forward.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be obstacles in your way, and one thing you can do with the rejection is you can flip the perspective on it and just think, I'm not the only person who's ever been rejected in this life, you know, and look at where these other people are. If I keep doing what I'm doing, there is absolutely no question that eventually I will get accepted and someone will want to work with me. You know, the most famous people out there in the business world, people like Walt Disney, you know, or J.K. Rowling, she got rejected over 30 times for the Harry Potter books, you know, and her circumstances at the time were horrific. She was a single mum on benefits, you know, a lot of people know that. But look where she is now because, you know, people didn't resonate with her story who rejected her, but the one person that did resonate absolutely slingshotted it into the stratosphere, and you just have to find that right avenue. You're in a maze with your eyes closed. You just have to keep pushing doors. Visualize that until one of them opens.
As a performance coach, how do you keep people believing in themselves? Because that's hard. If you're getting tons of rejection, and as an entrepreneur, you're selling yourself, you're selling your business. How do you keep them believing in themselves? It's just constant negativity.
It is very tough, but you need to ask them where the self-belief, lack of self-belief has come from. Is it past experience, or is it something that they're putting on themselves now because they're relying, what we discussed earlier, on the motivation, the wrong source of motivation, and when that motivation disappears, as does their self-belief. So you can then look to seek out a different source of motivation or a different desire that will actually keep them believing in themselves and that they're on the right track. Because all these things intertwine, and people only look at one thing, but if they actually look at 3 or 4 of these things and then merge them all together and align them towards their desire, they will be on a much better path and a lot smoother path.
It's good stuff. So as a peak performance coach, what services do you offer? We can get these services from your website, can't we?
Yes, I offer a free one-to-one coaching calls, which are my discovery sessions, which are 90 minutes long. I will try and help as many people as possible because that is my mission and my vision. And as my business side of it, obviously if I do my job well, money is a byproduct of that, and I will be able to help even more people. But I always put myself out there free first and show people how I can help. And if you want to work with me further over a 12-week program, we can. and
Yeah.
I can put a bespoke program in place for you, which will be completely aligned to all the pains and challenges and obstacles you have in your life, and then completely geared towards a desired outcome for you and living life at the level you want. It's not a cookie cutter program. It is a bespoke, tailored program for you and for the individual.
Okay. Now you can't say money to this because we've learned money is not a goal for anything.
No.
But what do you get out of coaching? Like when you go home at night, what do you get out of coaching?
I get a massive buzz from seeing people progress and taking them from point A to point B and bridging the gap in between and offering my services. And obviously, I get the chance to take my laptop, do a video call, and literally live the laptop lifestyle and work from wherever I want. Yeah, I can work on a train, I can work in an office, I can work in a cafe, I can work at home, and I have that freedom to go out and do as I please.
Now, you are teaching and coaching people all these positive things, you know, getting over rejection, discipline, self-belief, true desires. What happens when you hit an obstacle? Because you're human, like the rest of us.
Absolutely.
What happens when you hit an obstacle?
Well, I have a mentor myself. Big shout out to Lewis Raymond Taylor if you're listening.
Yeah, and who I have met and interviewed as well.
Yeah, not to mention that.
Very tall guy. Everybody's tall next to me.
Yeah, and I may reach out to him now and again, and I also have a lot of life lessons from him, and watch how he's evolved over time. But I simply sit down and look myself in the mirror and just ask, am I, hyperinflating this problem, or am I able to conquer this problem by myself? And if I'm able to conquer it by myself, then I'll simply write it down and I will stick it on a post-it note around my mirror until that task is done, so it stares me in the face every day.
That's so measured and calm and relaxed. I don't know if I could do that in reality when I'm panicking or stressed about something. Wow, that's very measured and well done. What's next for you? Have you got any events coming up? What's happening next for Gary J Allman?
I am coaching on a track at the moment. I'm coaching 2 clients this week, and then the next big event I have coming up is not till May the 30th. I'm back down in London, and I will be with Lewis, and I'll be with his partner Liam James Collins as well, and we will be.
Do you guys have these 3-barreled names? I have to ask that. It's all Lewis Raymond Taylor.
It just
Gary J Allman.
makes you stand out that little bit more.
And I asked him the same question, so I'm being fair, because everyone's got these names.
Yeah, I think it just makes you stand out that little bit more, even though I just use my initial in mine. But we are at an event called Fire Up 2020 that has been put on by Lewis and by Liam, and all the entrepreneurs that I work with and all the entrepreneurs that Lewis and Liam will work with will be congregating together. And the details for that will be revealed tomorrow, so watch my social for that.
Will you be walking on fire? Because I know Lewis likes to walk on fire.
Yes, I think Lewis has got that plan for us.
Are you going to be doing that? Your partner's in the studio.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like watching it.
I don't think she minds. She's all right. Yeah. No, we will be doing that. Yeah, walking across hot coals in bare feet. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting.
I almost want to come just to watch, not to participate.
Makes good content.
What was I going to ask you? What's happening next year? What is your what's the goal for you and your
The actual goal for me, not my schedule. The goal for me is simply put, and it sounds very blasé, but it is simply to help as many people as possible and to get my name out there, really resonate with people who have been in a similar situation to me, who know that they've got more to give the world and they really want to make their mark on the world, but they don't know how to do it. And I want to resonate with those people and connect with those people and build a relationship and get them to the next level and just create more individuals who can seek out the freedom that they need and elevate their business to the next level.
Positivity. We're going to start March. When does March start? Does it start tomorrow?
It starts tomorrow, yeah.
I'm really confused with being the 29th. We want positivity from the 1st of March. If anybody wants to get in contact with you, they need help, they're struggling, their money is their motivation, how can they get in contact? I love that. I've got to use that now. How can they get in contact with you?
You can reach out to me on my website, which is garyjallman.com. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Same name, Gary J Allman, all one word. Or you can email me directly, which is garyj@garyjallman.com.
Lovely. Thank you for coming in, Gary.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Let's have a little vanilla ice with ice, baby. Well, it reminds me of chewing gum, this song. I don't know why. Let's